Okay, so now we're going to add a feature to our class, our book class, which is called a constructor. And let me just backtrack for a moment here and remind you that with this line of code here, we're creating a new book object in memory, but at this moment, the book is empty. It has no title, no author, no price, and then we turn around and use those the parts of the properties to set the book data to something meaningful. There's a more efficient way of creating an object in memory, and that is through the use of a constructor. And really the whole purpose of the constructor is to create an object in memory that is fully populated with data, or populated with meaningful data at the time it is created. So it's not like a two-step thing like we're doing here. Step 1, create the empty book. Step 2, turn around and populate it with data. If we use a constructor, we take care of everything in one shot. Okay, so let's add a constructor to our book class. And let me just add some comments here. I'll typically, like here's the private data up at the top. I'll push the properties down below, just kind of get them out of the way. And I'm going to add the constructor right underneath the private data. I like the constructor up here near the top, right underneath the private data members. So the thing about the constructor, they are methods. Okay, this is the abbreviation for constructor. It's called a constructor. Okay, but I'll abbreviate it CTOR, all right? But constructors are methods, okay? And you'll see one in just a moment. I'm going to add one in here. And they are used to initialize objects with meaningful data at the time the object is created in memory. So it's a, think of the car rolling off the assembly line, fully loaded with all the features, ready to go, ready to drive away, okay? Nothing left to be done with it. And then, well, let me paste the constructor in here, and then we'll look at some of the other things. This is really how you can spot a constructor a mile away. Okay, it's a method, all right, but there's no return type. When we were talking about methods a couple of weeks ago, there was always, even if it wasn't returning anything, there was still a void as the return type. There's no return type for a constructor. It's a method, but it's a special kind of method, and here's how you can spot them a mile away. They have no return type, and the name of the method, it's not something that you choose. It is the exact same name as the class itself. Okay, so that's how you can tell a constructor from other, just another type of run-of-the-mill method. Okay, so I've added my constructor here, and this is a parameterized constructor. They don't all have to be, but most of them that we do in our class are going to be. And we'll look at another one that is not, and we'll talk about that. But okay, so I have a string coming through that's I'm calling T. That'll represent the title. And then I have another string for the author, which we'll call a decimal for the price, which we'll call P, parameter P, and then an image type for the cover, which I'll call C. Remember, if you want to use that image type, you do have to include this line up at the top using system.drawing. Otherwise, that image type is not going to be available to you inside of this class. Not going to come up in your IntelliSense. So anyway, once I create the book in memory, and I do have to go back to the form and edit that line where we're creating the book, but these, I'm going to provide the title, the author, the price, and so on. These values are going to come through the door here, so to speak, be copied into the parameters, and from there they're going to be dumped into, look, the private data members. Okay, the constructor executes automatically at the time the object is created in memory. So you don't have to explicitly call the constructor, and it's a one-time shot. It executes when the object is created, and then it never executes again. You can't use it a second time for the same object. It's a one-time deal, okay? So I'm going to go back to the form. I'm going to comment, well, you know what, I'm just going to pretend this doesn't exist. I'll comment this out, okay? And now I'm going to add a line of code to create a book using our parameterized constructor. Okay, I'm doing a different book. Okay, I'm still calling it B1. Okay, but this B1 doesn't exist. I commented it out. So now I'm doing a new book again, the magic word new, the magic spell, creating a book in memory, but this time we're using the constructor and we're passing the values for the title, the author, the price, and so on. And those are going to be passed to the constructor, which is firing automatically as the object is created, and all of those values are going to be dumped into the private data member. So after this line executes, I'm ready to go. Okay, there's no step 1 and step 2 like there was the first time we did it. I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Okay, so there you have it. And then, yeah, I mean, once the book is populated, it's the same, just getting the data back out. Now it's just, you know, everything else is the same, but it's just that constructor that just makes the whole creating an object more efficient. And obviously there's less code involved as well.